focus on your organization becoming a learning organization and your organization becoming an adaptable organization. Because if it's adaptable and learning and you're able to create new stuff very fast, it doesn't matter what trend comes, you are going to be prepared.
First of all, why did you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. So my name is Dan. I co-authored a couple of books on corporate innovation. Maybe you've seen them. First one is called The Corporate Startup. The second one is called Innovation Accounting. So they are looking at all things corporate innovation, from how do you structure innovation to how do you measure it. However, this is not how I make my living. I run a consulting company, which I happen to own. And we help large organizations transform. So we've worked in organizations literally around the world, from Southeast Asia to North America, in various industries, pharma, manufacturing, retail, we've done it all.
Wow.
So everything that I'm talking about, everything that I'm writing on my blog, everything that I'm speaking at conferences about, it's based and funded in practice, like practical terms.
And previously you were an entrepreneur before.
I was an entrepreneur. I think I still am an entrepreneur, although I have a consulting company. So it's not a product company yet. We're working towards that. Now it's just professional services. So yes.
I see. So do you mind sharing with us a little bit more about your third book?
So yes, I'm actually working on a third book, and this third book is called Open Innovation Works. We got a very nice domain name, and it's openinnovation.works. So it's looking only at open innovation and how do large organizations set up open innovation engines, what kind of open innovation engines are the most relevant for them, obviously how they interact with the startups and how the startups interact back with them.
And that's part of the talk
That
today.
was part of the talk today. So what you've seen today on stage was just talking about one of the engines, the corporate venture capital one. But in essence, expect the same level of degree that you've seen with that one for all the other 7 engines that we've identified.
Oh, so if you are exploring about open innovation, if you are a corporation, then please.
That will be we want that to be the reference book in corporate innovation.
Encyclopedia for corporate innovation.
Yeah, the previous 2 books were like that for their own parts of innovation, and we want this third book to follow in those footsteps. Yes.
Let's move on to the skills that the next generation require, because you are the forefront of innovation, and you can see that AI has already eliminated some jobs. What are the jobs that you have seen recently eliminated by AI, and what are the jobs that will be eliminated by AI in the future?
Well, you're asking a very tough question. I honestly don't know what kind of jobs were eliminated today. I can think on my feet now, and I can say, well, everything around content editing, right?
Content editing.
Content editing. Like for my previous book, to be honest with you, and this is a good example. We hired an editor to help us with the language, to help us, putting everything in the same voice and make some obvious edits, right? Now we're basically running everything through AI. So content editing, at least from a book publisher or book author perspective, it's something that's been optimized through AI. I think you can think of many more other things. I think the personal assistants, for example, will probably disappear as a job.
Yeah.
They can be easily replaced by AI. I don't think AI is at that level now where it does that, but I think we're going to see more of those plugins coming online.
Okay, so what are the careers, or what are the skills that will be protected?
Right. I think we should talk more about skills rather than careers, because careers will change. I honestly think that you should prepare for applying to a job later in the next, 5 years maybe, right? Or the next 3 years. I think what's very important to have is curiosity.
Curiosity.
Which AI doesn't have. AI is not curious, like it's not intrinsically curious.
Okay.
You need to give it a cue, and it will start doing searches and stuff, but by itself it's not going to start doing that.
I'll ask Amika whether she is curious.
Obviously she's gonna say yes, right? Obviously she's gonna say yes. I'm super curious. I think curiosity is very important, and then creativity and critical thinking. You need to develop your creative mindset, and your creativity, because AI can be creative if you give a certain theme around which to be creative. But it's not self-starting, right? So
Okay.
it's very important creativity, and above all, we run the risk of seeing less and less critical thinking in the younger generations because AI is taking over. So I think that if you are listening to this, try to develop your critical thinking, because that's something that AI won't be able to replace.
And if you have critical thinking, you'll be able to use AI more effectively as well, right?
100%. 100%. Again, curiosity, critical thinking, and creativity will make you a better user of AI technologies.
Okay, so it's triple C.
Triple C, yeah, if you want to think of that as well, yeah, we can actually write the blog post about it.
Yeah, curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking. Okay, and what about the fields that you might want to suggest new generations, let's say Gen Alpha, to study?
Probably go in direction of humanistic studies,
Like humanity?
humanity, and yeah. I think that's going to be more interesting because writing code is going to be done by AI, and it's going to be done by AI at a higher quality than a human would ever be
Okay,
able to
so
do
you
it.
agree with Jensen Huang?
I don't know
NVIDIA
who that person is, but I agree with him apparently. I think go to humanities studies, psychology,
Psychology.
everything that has to do with human interaction. Because as a society, we're going to start missing that more and more. We're going to interact way too much with technology, and at one point we're going to
Lose
be
touch.
lose touch of how is it to interact with a person, right? There was this case this morning on one of the stages of a Thai company that created the vending machines for coffee.
Yeah.
Right?
Taobin.
Taobin, yeah, exactly. I think that's great as a startup, it's great as a technology, but think about it. If your entire life you are going to interact with the machine, you won't be able to interact with the barista,
Yeah.
right? Plus, again, the environment in which that was made, and so on and so forth, right? It's very different from the environment where you typically drink coffee now, right? Because that's very optimized for drinking it at home. It's very optimized for you taking it to go. But yeah, I think it's very important to still study human interactions.
Wow. Okay. So probably to add on to like curiosity, creativity, critical thinking would be empathizing people.
Yeah, but that doesn't start with C.
Oh, triple
need to
C
wait-
and one E.
Triple C and one E. Yeah, we need to find a way to. We need to ask an AI to give us a word that starts
Yeah,
with a C
for
that
sure.
reflects empathy.
So would you mind talking a little bit about corporate innovation?
Right.
Because there are so many corporates trying to innovate, but it lasts for like a few years and
Yeah.
the project is gone.
Yeah.
So why is it not sustainable, and how do we prevent it from dying?
Well, corporate innovation will come and go in cycles, in my opinion. And I think we're now at the lowest point where corporate innovation has been in the past 10 years. Probably it's been at the lower point during the pandemic, but under, let's say, normal circumstances, this has been the lowest it's ever been. And for a good reason. I mean, it's a cost. Corporate innovation is a cost, and
It's not supposed to generate profit eventually.
well, yes, but the profit is going to be so far down the line that a lot of boards, unfortunately, don't have the patience.
Okay.
And there are many reasons for that. I think to begin with, the way they want to do corporate innovation, and most organizations are really terrible at it, because they have a very binary view of what innovation is. They believe that it's either incremental in terms of we're going to improve what we're doing today, let's sprinkle some AI on that,
Yeah.
right? And that's incremental. Or they think about, pie in the sky flying cars, robots that talk type of innovation. It's very 0-1.
Yeah.
What they forget, and most of this is the point we're trying to make to a lot of the boards we're working with. The fact that there is a middle ground for innovation where you are a bit more than incremental, but you don't go all the way to talking
Breakthrough.
robots.
Yeah.
Right? So you are kind of like in the middle where you are able to leverage your brand, leverage your existing assets, and build products that have financial impact in a very short amount of time. Because the things that are to the extreme, like talking robots, it's high uncertainty there. You don't know if they will return anything. You don't know if they will be in any way successful, how successful they're going to be. On the incremental side, you know that you are making marginal improvements, right? So there's the part in the middle. So I think that's one of the first mistakes that they're making. They're either investing in incremental, or they're investing in flying cars. And obviously from that you're going to have other mistakes that they are making, but this is probably a fundamental one.
What about talent scarcity? Do you think it's one of the
It's
crucial?
the least of the problems.
It's the least of the
It's the
problems?
least of the problems.
Because
yes.
corporate has money to spend on
Exactly, they can
hiring
hire
talent.
like literally they can hire people, and if they can't hire people, they can hire consultants like myself, right? And they can also they can go around solving the talent issue with money. But you can't solve the direction issue with money. If your direction is wrong, no amount of money is going to change your direction.
Okay.
You have to do that by yourself. So unless you start realizing, look, we've only been doing talking robots or incremental, unless you realize that and say, okay, now we need to focus really on the thing that returns ROI and it's in the middle, no amount of money was going to help you bridge this gap.
I see. So what is your suggestion, especially for the 100 years company or 30 years old company?
Obviously, they have to look at the trends. They have to look at what the market wants. They have to look at the direction of the market. They have to look at all the other things. They need to develop their strategy for the future. And we're going to see how many of them actually get to do it.
I think it is very difficult, on a hindsight knows the answer. For example, Kodak case, right?
Right.
Time, I'm pretty sure that it's a difficult situation.
You know how you boil a frog?
Yeah?
How do you boil a frog?
They say that you need to constantly increase the temperature.
Yeah,
a
well,
little bit.
that's how large companies disrupted. Kodak didn't happen overnight. Blockbuster being killed by Netflix didn't happen overnight. No, just all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and there's a thing called Netflix that is used by 100 million users around the world. This didn't happen overnight. Same thing with Kodak. Same thing with all the other disruption stories around the world. So it takes time. There was this quote in a book by Hemingway. I can't remember the book, but one character was asking the other, "How did you get bankrupt?" And the answer was little by little, and then all of a sudden.
Oh.
So this is how you get disrupted, little by little, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm out of business, right? But you have time to realize that. I'm following what's happening at Audi because Audi,
car company?
yeah. Audi's board, a member of their board, came out about 2 years ago and they said that they have 50% chance of still existing in 10 years. 50-50.
Yeah.
Well, we might exist or we might not exist in 10 years, not 100 years, not 15, not 20, 10 years. So I'm curious now, first of all, if they will still be around in 10 years. And second, I'm very interested if the board haven't had, this warning, if they are taking any steps today to avoid 50-50 is really bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, you have 50% chance of leaving.
Yeah.
You're pretty much dead at that point. You're like, okay, I need to say goodbye to my family now. You don't want to hear that in any circumstance. Oh, I have 50% chance of passing an exam or, surviving until next week.
Too
right?
low.
It's very low. It's super low. So I'm wondering if now the board in Audi is actually starting to do something about it. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything, or from where I am, I don't have the transparency over what's going on there.
No EVs yet.
Well, they have a lot of EVs.
Okay.
And they were probably some of the first with EVs. Yeah, the e-tron and then the e-tron GT and
okay.
Yeah, the Porsche Taycan is based on an Audi model. It's based on the e-tron GT.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so again, they have EVs, But the problem is that their EVs are super expensive, and they are probably not as reliable. And again, when you are asking 80,000 for a car that is still based on an outdated technology, I'm Tesla, right? Right?
Is it about branding though?
No, it's not about branding. It's like pure technology against technology.
Oh.
Better battery in Tesla, more software technology, integrated technology with other cars, with other apps I'm using. Why should I buy an electric car that in its DNA is still stuck in the past? I think 50-50, it's really optimistic.
Okay. So, there any suggestion you would like audience to pick up in order to like improve themselves, or something to learn? Something that is going to be mega trend in the future?
I don't know what the mega trend is. This is again a very interesting question you asked. Like, well, what's the mega trend? And I'm getting that question from CEOs as well, from CEOs of large organizations. And I think that fundamentally that's the wrong question to ask.
Okay.
Because that what it means, if you're asking me what's the mega trend, you're basically saying, if I have an exam to study, what kind of questions are you going to ask me at the exam, right?
Yeah.
This is exactly the question that you ask now. Instead of your question being, how do I need to learn better, or how can I become a better student, you're asking me what the exams are, what the questions for the exam are going to be, right? Mm-hmm. So you're opting for the wrong thing. If you're optimizing for a trend, the trend doesn't happen,
Then we are
you are not prepared. And even if that trend happens, you're only going to be prepared for as long that trend is relevant. The moment when the trend becomes irrelevant, you are going to become irrelevant. So it's more important to focus on how do you become adaptable,
Okay.
than how you deal with a certain trend. And this is exactly the advice I'm giving to corporate boards. I say, don't focus on AI, don't focus on blockchain, cloud computing, whatever other buzzword out there, right? Flying cars, speaking robots, I don't give a shit what they're called. Focus on your organization becoming a learning organization, and your organization becoming an adaptable organization. Because if it's adaptable and learning, and you're able to create new stuff very fast, it doesn't matter what trend comes, you are going to be prepared. That's a fundamental mindset shift people have to have.
So, any suggestions on changing the organization that is not currently learning organization to become one?
I think my number one advice would be to make a stronger relationship between strategy and practice.
Okay.
Like, create a strategy. How long does it take for you to put that in practice? What are you learning for putting that into practice? And how fast are you getting the feedback loop back into strategy? So how fast are you able to adapt strategy based on market validated data? And I think that's going to make the difference for organizations in the future.
So make sure that you are getting feedback loop, not just like sitting and thinking about strategy.
Or just doing it and then deploy it and then forget about it.
You need to measure the success as
Measure
well.
the success and measure it in a very proactive way. Don't wait until the end of the financial year. Don't wait, 5 years for the strategy to finish implementation before you say, hey, it was successful or not. Do it in a bit more agile way.
Okay, so constantly measure success and the milestones before taking another step.
Another step into updating the strategy. Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you so much, Dan.
My pleasure.
Okay, so if you have any comments or suggestions, or you want to use his consultancy service, please comment down below. And if there's anything that you want to hear from this channel, please let me know as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Because I think I have ChatGPT here.
Yeah, and you can show us.
Let's see what ChatGPT. No, I don't have it on my phone.
What about Gemini?
I don't know. I don't have Gemini.
Claude?
No. I used to have only ChatGPT, and it was on my iPad, not on my phone.
All right, it's fine.
Sorry.
Okay.
We gave it our best.